We've all heard it. I took Spanish in high school and I don't remember anything. I'm just not good at languages. Just not good at languages? How could that be true when that very same person was just using language fluently to share their experience with you? At the Comprehensible Classroom, our core belief is that all students are capable of acquiring language, and we have designed a language program that enables every student to experience success communicating in new languages by tapping into the same capabilities that enabled them to learn their first. The Somos program is different from every other language curriculum on the market, and that might mean that you have extra questions you need answered. My name is Martina Becks, and I am the founder of the Comprehensible Classroom. In this series of short videos, I will help you discover the key information you need to feel confident moving forward in the adoption process with Somos. Somos is a proficiency-oriented language program. It is designed to help students build linguistic proficiency. At the Comprehensible Classroom, we don't make claims lightly. We confidently affirm that the Somos program is proficiency-oriented because we understand what proficiency is, how it develops, and the specific ways in which Somos supports that objective. Let's unpack that together. Proficiency can be broken down into several components: content, function, accuracy, and text type. The working definition we use is that proficiency is being able to successfully communicate about things for purposes. As students build proficiency, they develop the ability to communicate about more topics, accomplish more tasks with greater accuracy or success, with an always increasing ability to elaborate or explain. The Somos program is engineered to help students do just that, to successfully communicate about topics and for purposes. Just take a look at what students can do as a result of instruction with Somos. Here is a pre- and post-assessment for a student who completed the first 8 units of the curriculum in their first year of Spanish. The pre-assessment demonstrates that the student had no communicative competence in Spanish at the beginning of the year. At the end of the year, wow, just take a look at this excerpt. Un día Mike quiere sus amigos ir a España. Todos los amigos de Mike dicen, sí, pero ¿cuándo? Sus amigos hablan y hablan, pero no saben cuándo van a España. Mike quiere encontrar un amigo tomar a España. Mike busca y busca. Entonces Mike ve que su amiga que se llama Elizabeth. Mike camina hacia Elizabeth y dice, ¿quieres ir a España conmigo? This student is already performing solidly at intermediate low in presentational writing, using a variety of words, phrases, and strings of original sentences to elaborate a little on familiar topics, with errors. Yes, there are errors, but with errors that do not interfere with communication in the present tense. We were able to understand everything the student was trying to say. Growth in proficiency is a key outcome of the Somos program, and it can happen because Somos uses a communicative, comprehension-based approach to language instruction. You see, humans don't develop communicative proficiency by memorizing vocabulary and studying grammar rules. We develop communicative proficiency by communicating. Communication is the interpretation, expression, and/or negotiation of meaning in a given context for a purpose. As humans, we communicate to learn, to connect, and to entertain. Traditionally, language curricula are designed to equip students with components, grammar and vocabulary, that they can practice combining so that they can one day use what they have practiced for in the real world. At the Comprehensible Classroom, we see things differently. The classroom is the real world. Your students are real people living in the real world, capable of using a real language for authentic communicative purposes now within the walls of your classroom. They can learn, connect, and be entertained using a language that they are learning now. They don't need to wait to communicate. Some of the communicative activities that are used frequently in Somos include storytelling, to learn and be entertained, learning new information through reading, connecting by talking about students' lives, playing games to learn or review information or simply to have fun, discussing the weather, the date, and the news, and describing people, places, events, and ideas to peers. The Somos program makes communication possible from day one of level 1 through careful scaffolding. Each unit of the curriculum introduces students to a new set of core vocabulary. The core vocabulary will be used repeatedly throughout the unit, embedded in communicative contexts. Students will hear questions about their lives that use the core vocabulary word. They will hear and read stories that use the core vocabulary. They will read articles and answer questions about products, practices, and perspectives that are explained with core vocabulary. The meaningful, repeated exposure to a small set of core words in each unit helps students process the language coming in. It helps students to understand what they are hearing and reading so that those words can become part of their internal linguistic system. The core vocabulary is not the only vocabulary to which students will be exposed in each unit. Students will use many other words to communicate about the topics featured in every unit of the program, but the core vocabulary words will carry forward into all future units. We call this spiraling. By spiraling a set of high-leverage vocabulary from unit to unit, the Somos program leans into the frequency effect, which is one factor that impacts language acquisition. Students need repeated exposure to a word over time, with initial repetitions close together and then more spaced out as time goes on. The first unit in our novice curricula works with a very small set of vocabulary, just 3 to 5 core vocabulary words, plus some easy-to-interpret, concrete cognates. The core vocabulary words are high-frequency words and phrases that will enable students to communicate about a broad range of topics early on. These are words such as has, says, wants, goes, and does. In every unit, teachers are provided with scripts, texts, and other resources so that they know exactly what to do and say in class in order to facilitate communication and ensure comprehension. Students develop a microfluency, which is a term coined by Dr. Terry Waltz, as they communicate at a remarkably high level of proficiency, but using a very small set of vocabulary. With each new unit, more new words are spiraled in, which enables students to continue building their communicative proficiency. They are able to interpret and talk about more and more topics and accomplish ever more tasks as their working vocabulary grows and their internal linguistic system becomes more robust. By the time students enter their 3rd, 4th, and AP years of Spanish, what they are able to do with the language is impressive. Here is an excerpt from a text that students are expected to read and understand in Huellas 2, which is our AP curriculum. When students read this article, when they read anything in the curriculum, the expectation is not that they can merely get the gist or pull out key ideas. Students are reading the articles as fluently as they would read an article in their first language. Truly, they are using their new language authentically, using it to learn about new topics and connect with each other. Another important outcome of the Somos program is cultural competence. Cultural competence is not something that can be taught and learned as a commodity because it depends on self-reflection and application. The Somos program is designed to provide students with building blocks, with a broad view of the Spanish-speaking world so that they can develop cultural competence. Throughout the program, students will learn about many different people, products, practices, and perspectives from the Spanish-speaking world. They will learn about practices that are rooted in European traditions. They will learn about Afro communities, and they'll learn about the many ways in which indigenous cultures are alive and thriving throughout the American continent. Students are taught that Spanish-speaking culture is not one thing, and that the lives and perspectives of Spanish speakers are as diverse as the lives and perspectives of people in students' own states. Some of the topics that students explore include cumbia as an example of cultural fusion, piropos as a way to reflect on how we see ourselves versus how the world sees us, bullfighting as a cultural tradition that many members of the community reject, and carnival as a celebration of community and belonging. The instructional activities that accompany each cultural topic invite students to examine how products, practices, and perspectives are interconnected, and to notice connections between things they are studying and the related products, practices, and perspectives in their own lives and cultures. Alongside communicative proficiency and cultural competence, the Somos program is designed to help create connections and community within the classroom. Connection is at the heart of the human experience, and connecting with the people around us helps us learn how to connect with people far from us. Somos is filled with multi-log, which is conversation that happens between multiple interlocutors. With the teacher facilitating conversation, students express their ideas and opinions and respond to the ideas and opinions shared by classmates. One of our core mindsets is that we value connection over curriculum. The goal of the program is not to cover content to get through units. It is to use the content as a springboard to help students connect with each other, with us, their teachers, with their passions and purposes in life, and with the world outside the walls of the classroom, both near and far. The Somos program embodies our core beliefs about language learning. All students are capable of acquiring language. We know that the composition of our language classes can be representative of the school's population from level 1 all the way through AP where available. We believe that all students have a place in language classes and that the success that students experience in language classes can positively impact their belief in themselves as learners in all subject areas. We don't think we're being naive when we say that language teachers have the power to change the world by changing the way they teach language. The mindset, the approach, and the content in the Somos program all work together toward this important vision. If this sounds like something that you want for your students, I invite you to keep watching. In the next video, I will cover the more technical aspects of the program. Ready to take the lead now? Visit www.comprehensibleclassroom.com/districts to create an account and purchase the curriculum today.